body. The person who has embodied this the most easily is Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Hollywood's biggest weapon, and also now Hollywood's biggest.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I did not know that The Rock was black. I didn't know. I didn't know he was black, bro. I thought he was a white man, but he's black. That fried me. I'm not gonna lie, that fried me. I did not know he was white. I mean black. Also, I be seeing a lot of like John Cena versus The Rock in acting. In acting. That's a thing. Like they be compared the two in acting. I don't know. Both these niggas were in Fast and Furious. That's all I really know what movies they've been in. I mean, I got, John Cena is Peacekeeper. That shit pretty good. The Rock, nigga was Black Adam.
Fraud. For a long time, Dwayne has had.
But I heard the new movie that The Rock just did. That shit did good. Fuck, man, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you.
Hollywood grabbed by the balls with his giant excessive run in the box office, getting in nearly $14 billion with his movies. There was a point where Dwayne was basically undefeated in all fields of being a celebrity, but lately dollars with his movies. There was a point where Dwayne was in the box office. For a long time, Dwayne has had Hollywood grabbed by the balls with his.
Hold on. We're talking about Ari. Wasn't asking.
Giant excess.
Okay, Jumanji. I'm not gonna like. Me personally, I'm not like a comedy type of guy. I don't really like watching comedy movies that like much, to be honest. I watch them with people, but if I'm by myself, I'm not watching no goddamn Jumanji. You know, Fate of the Furious.
Massive run in the box office.
What's number one? What was number
For a
one?
long time, Dwayne has had Hollywood grabbed by the balls with his giant.
Is that Fast and Furious? Yeah, it is, because Vin Diesel and Paul Walker. Yeah.
Excessive run in the box office, getting in nearly $14 billion with his movies. There was a point where Dwayne was basically undefeated in all fields of being a celebrity, but lately the mask has started to fade and people have been seeing completely through his inauthentic persona. And it's starting to reflect because he's been losing tens of million dollars in the box office.
Yeah. I also see a lot of people say that he doesn't really act. A lot of people don't like that he doesn't really act. He just plays himself. You feel me? And also, nigga got he got like a no lose clause. Basically, he can only take a certain amount of punches, and whoever he's playing as, he can't lose a fight. Or if he does lose, he gotta get that get back. Like if a nigga put him on his head, he gotta go back and kill the nigga. Like, yeah, he can only take a certain amount of punches. I don't know. I think it's him, Jason Statham, and Vin Diesel. I know those are the three people that have that no lose clause.
Lost hundreds of thousands of followers and overall has just lost a lot of respect. Today we're going to be looking at how Dwayne Johnson became the biggest fraud in all of Hollywood. Now, it's no surprise that Dwayne initially became a wrestler, seeing that his dad was Rocky Johnson, a legend in the world of WWE. He was the first Georgia Black Heavyweight Champion and was the two-time NWA Television Champion. But his biggest accomplishment was when him and Tony Atlas were the first black.
That's another thing. I also feel like, every WWE wrestler, like once you retire from that, I feel like you should just automatically go into acting. Or while you're also wrestling, you should also go into acting. Because I feel like that just makes perfect sense. Especially if you go, like, if you're trying to be like in action movies and stuff like that. I feel like it makes sense. And it's kind of like perfect.
Wrestlers to win the tag team championship. And Rocky also married the daughter of the wrestling legend Peter Maivia. Together, they gave birth to their son, Dwayne. Now, being a wrestler was a very challenging career path for Rocky. He was on the road constantly and basically lived on beer, sliced cheese, and bologna. Because he was traveling 12 out of every 14 days, he basically barely even saw his own son. And Rocky was not exactly a good role model to Dwayne, as he basically cheated on his wife at almost every arena that he performed at. Dwayne actually witnessed this himself and would even call some of the women, yelling at them to stay away from his dad. One time, he even stole the credit card of one of the mistresses and went on a.
I ain't gonna lie, I don't really care about the nigga life. I'm being honest.
Shook my hand. I'll never forget that shit. Have your word? Yep, sure. You got my word.
Dwayne would not really realize how important this moment was because playing football was the best thing to happen to him. Jody acted like a father figure and a mentor to Dwayne while he fell in love with the sport. Soon enough, he went from troubled teenager criminal to a respectful young man with a motivation and passion for life. This would start to spread to other aspects of his life because his grades would all.
Bro, I don't give a fuck about that nigga life. I'm not gonna lie.
Rocky Maivia was a pretty nice guy, but The Rock had no filter and no patience for bullshit. Between his over-exaggerated movements, his loud energy, and his numerous catchphrases, this was a hit. Instantly became a superstar in the WWE. The audience actually started taking him seriously now when he was one of those.
His hairline was fucking chalk, nigga. I see why he went bald. Yeah, that hairline is Yo, your shit nasty, bro. And you ain't got no C cups. I mean, I feel like, well, back then, like, hairlines, like, your shit didn't need to be crispy to pull no hoes. Like, your shit did not need to be no crisp.
Beloved people in the wrestling world. Now, as we
That
know,
shit probably didn't
WWE
even
is
exist back
shamelessly
then.
fake and scripted. So with the success of this performance that he was putting on, Dwayne figured that he could transfer that to television and movies. So he did a few appearances on TV shows like That 70s Show, Star Trek Voyager, and even on SNL. He even got his very first role by playing the Scorpion King in the movie The Mummy Returns, where he got a fat
I remembered that movie. My grandfather had like the DVD joint, and I watched that movie. It wasn't bad when I watched it back then. I don't know if it's bad now, but
offer
that
for
shit wasn't bad.
$5.5 million. You think he's big now? He was just that big at the time. He even got his own movie, The Scorpion King, where he was the lead this time, and that movie made over $180 million in the box office. But the wrestling fans did not like how Dwayne was tapping into movies like this. So when he made another return to the WWE, he was getting booed relentlessly off stage. Feeling discouraged, he took another break from wrestling to focus on his movie, The Rundown, but this was a box office failure. Now with his wrestling career and with his movie career at risk, The Rock decided to take a giant risk. He was going to make another comeback to the WWE, but this time as Hollywood Rock. An even more cocky and even more bombastic version of the Rock persona, but this time with the ego of a Hollywood star. He went even harder with insulting the audience and the other performers, going so far as to include a segment called Rock Concerts where he would start playing the guitar and insulting the audience through the form of song. The audience learned to love him all over again, and once again he was at the top of the WWE. But then his contract ended. He was over 30 at this point and didn't really want to keep risking his body physically, so he decided to put all of it into acting again. He starred in some movies that did pretty well, like Walking Tall and Gridiron Gang, but these weren't exactly exceptional. His other movies like Doom and Southland Tales were complete failures. This whole serious and deep approach that Dwayne was trying to take to movie theaters just was not working. So just like how he changed characters in wrestling, he decided to change his actual real life persona, and he went from The Rock to Dwayne Johnson. The Rock was an egotistical, muscular, aggressive piece of monstrosity, but Dwayne was a slimmed down, thin, nice, smiley, wholesome person with a lot of charm. And this was when he started to switch over to more family-friendly kid movies. He did his first ever Disney movie, The Game Plan, which brought in over $140 million with a $22 million budget. This was definitely the right move to go for Dwayne at the time, and he started doing a bunch more of these. Get Smart scored $230 million, Race to Witch Mountain $106 million, Planet 51 $105 million.
He was in Planet 51? I didn't know that, but I like this movie.
Tooth Fairy $112 million.
That.
Dwayne was now making more money than he could have dreamed of, but this wasn't enough. Dwayne wasn't quite the movie star that he really wanted to be. Yeah, he was successful in all these kid films, but he wanted more than that. He didn't want to be successful in Hollywood, he wanted to be Hollywood. And he wasn't gonna do that with all of these silly Disney films that were pretty forgettable. No. So he fired all of his current agents, got a new team, and entered another new phase. This time as Dwayne The Rock Johnson. A combination of both Dwayne Johnson and The Rock. He would have the badass action attitude of The Rock, but still keeping the wholesome family charm of Dwayne Johnson. He then would take on the role that completely cemented his name in Hollywood as Luke Hobbs in the Fast and Furious franchise. To say that this movie did good or even great is such a severe understatement. It brought in $600 million, which was more than double what the last Fast and Furious movie did, and gave the series a completely new light. The franchise went from car culture street racing to one of the most action-packed movie franchises ever. Critics and fans raved in awe of Dwayne's performance and really gave him a lot of the credit for giving the series a new.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you, bro. Like, me personally, I did learn to love the switch in Fast and Furious, because obviously, you know, I'm like, damn, bro, like, but this shit went from street racing to niggas jumping out of airplanes, and you feel me? But then I really understood, it's like, bro, it's only so much you could do with just, like, you know, regular street races. It's so much you could do with it. But with like shit like this, you could do so much more stuff. The ideas are like endless, damn near, bro. You can't run out of ideas if you're doing like action, like crazy high action shit like that, like how they doing now. You cannot run out of ideas. So I learned to love the change in Fast and Furious, and I feel like Hobbs was actually, like, The Rock was a good addition to it.
Light. To this day, many critics and fans consider this movie to be the best out of the entire series. The success continued when Fast and Furious 6 dropped, which brought in over $800 million, and this was really the start of Dwayne completely taking over Hollywood. In 2013, his movies alone brought over $1.3 billion. Snitch, Pain and Gain, G.I. Joe Retaliation, and obviously Fast and Furious 6. In 2014, he starred in Hercules, which brought over $250 million. Dwayne even made a slight comeback in WWE with a feud against John Cena. And honestly, what helped Dwayne be so successful was his hard work ethic and the respect that he gave to everyone he worked with. He was one of the best people to work with on set. He took direction well, showed up on time, and did exactly what he was instructed to do. Anyone who's worked with Dwayne only has nice things to say about him, and that goes a much longer way than you think it does. Because at the end of the day, to really get in Hollywood is the connections that you have, and if you're nice to a lot of the people and get them on your good side, that can take you very far. The Rock was on a roll that could not be stopped. The only person that could stop him at this point was himself. And in 2016, we'd start to see that happen. Being in Fast and Furious was the thing that took Dwayne's career to a next level, but also was the very first start in ruining it. Because you see, it was that year where we actually would start to see Dwayne's ego get out of control for the very first time. Dwayne would start a feud with his co-star and Fast and Furious producer, Vin Diesel. Vin starred only in the first film and then came back to star and produce.
But to be honest, Vin Diesel kind of the same way. His ego is so loud for what? Anyways, Vin Diesel got like the same type of thing. I'm pretty sure. What was it? I forgot. I think it was Fast and Furious, the second one, when Tyrese was in it. He turned down the role in it because it was gonna be him and Paul, but he turned the role down, and then Tyrese took the role, and then he got mad at Tyrese for taking the role.
In the fourth Fast and Furious movies. He then continued to star and produce the 5th, 6th, and 7th movie, the ones that Dwayne starred in. And at some point, this clearly got to Dwayne. Because after filming a Fast and Furious 8, Dwayne would go onto Instagram to subliminally diss a lot of his co-stars.
Oh yeah, because he was like, I think it was like, you Vin Diesel? No, I look better than him and I'm bigger than him.
My female co-stars are amazing and I love them. My male co-stars, however, are a different story. Some conduct themselves as stand-up men and true professionals while others don't. The ones that don't are too chicken shit to do anything about it, candy asses. He deleted this post pretty quickly after posting it, but it still reached a lot of tabloids and got a lot of people talking. Who exactly was Dwayne dissing over here? Well, inside sources who worked on the movie were able to confirm that Dwayne was talking about Vin Diesel. They were constantly butting heads on set and just didn't get along. But the story was pretty divided in exactly who was doing the aggression here. Some sources say that Dwayne was not very happy with how Vin was running things and would rebel by showing up late or not showing up at all, which was pretty out of his character. But other sources said that Vin was acting like a diva and showing up extremely late to set himself, some days just spending all day in his trailer. Dwayne himself confirmed that they did actually have beef in an interview and that it was so bad that the two actually could not be on set together at the same time.
Yeah, I remember. It was, yeah, I forgot. I think it was Fast and Furious. I think it was one when they were at a dinner table and it was said that like through that scene, they weren't on the set at the same time. I forget which. I think that was Fast and Furious 8. I think.
They would literally have to
9.
use body doubles for their shots at some point. It was a giant ego battle between the two, and it was most likely fueled by their career paths after the 5th movie. You see, after Fast and Furious 5, Dwayne became one of the most popular and well-paid actors in all of Hollywood, just like how he planned. But Vin wasn't doing so well. His movies completely flopped in box offices and got absolute shit reviews, meaning that the Fast and Furious series was all that he...
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like, bro, I only know, bro, because the Fast and Furious, like, what was he in? I forget. He was in some other movies. I know he got another standalone movie, but yeah, I don't think they're really good movies. He got songs. Yeah, XXX. I know that one. And then it's another one. Yeah, Bloodshot. I remember I watched this when it came out. Really, that's like Bloodshot, XXX. The rest of this shit. What? Oh yeah, he's Drax, ain't he? I think, right? He's Drax. No, he's not Drax. Drax is fucking Batista. How was he in this movie? Oh, he's Groot. I mean, bro, that's cool too. You Groot, bro. Like, bro, everybody love Groot.
He had. And in interviews, when Vin talked about Dwayne, he was extremely passive-aggressive. He would say only nice things, but would constantly refer to him as his little brother, subtly trying to say that he's still number one. Dwayne was so fed up with this that he quite literally left the Fast and Furious series over it, which again was the best thing that ever happened to his career. But he still was contractually obligated to do one last movie, which was Hobbs and Shaw, a movie that was completely separate from the series as a whole. The movie still did phenomenal in the box office, but really went to show the lengths that Dwayne was willing to go just not to be around Vin. And for the next couple of years, Dwayne still kept his strong streak of box office hits. Baywatch, Central Intelligence, Jumanji, Rampage, Skyscraper. Dwayne never ever did a movie that did less than 100 million in the box office. And he eventually became the 16th highest grossing actor in the entire world, bringing in over $13 billion. He also made a giant splash on social media, becoming nearly the 5th most followed person on the world with over 395 million followers. And a lot of this really came from the persona and the brand that he established as a person. He was the work hard, play hard guy who woke up at 4 in the morning, lifted super heavy weights, ate super healthy, and grinded his ass.
I'm just realizing his song. He say, We devour. Take was ours. Black and Samoan in my veins. Or whatever he said. Black and Samoan in my veins. He's saying black and Samoan in his veins. He's black. I did not think of that. I just thought of that. Wowzers.
Ass off. He became an American icon just like how he planned. In a poll where people voted as the biggest American icons, this is what the results said. Number 5 was Martin Luther King Jr. Number 4 was Abraham Lincoln. Number 3, George Washington. Number 2, Elvis. And number 1, Dwayne Johnson. I'm not joking, this is real. He had more appeal than the president who ended slavery and then the guy who ended segregation.
I mean, if we keep it to the butt, like, bro, Abraham Lincoln, like, we ain't really know cuz for real. You know, like, we don't really know, bro. He probably low-key. Nah, bro, ain't no bro for real. And Martin Luther King, bro, they say he used to be in a club with mad white women, bro. Like
that's crazy. And he had such a massive appeal that actually there was a poll that revealed 46% of Americans would support him as president, which he genuinely considered. He was on top of the world, and it started to get to his head pretty badly. It kind of started off with the way that he wanted his public image to be displayed. Because around 2019,
I feel like, sorry, bro. I feel like in all honesty, that would get to anyone's head. To a point. I feel like it would get to anyone's head, bro.
Revealed that Dwayne had a specific clause in his contract that would not allow his character to lose any fight.
Yeah, no lose. Yeah, but it's not just him that has it. Like I said, 3 people: The Rock, Vin Diesel, Jason Statham.
His character cannot lose any sort of battle no matter what the movie is. This most likely started with the Fast and Furious incident, as Vin Diesel had a very similar clause in his contract as well. But it really went to show about just how much Dwayne really cared about preserving this hero image he wanted so badly in all of his movies. His ego is so fragile that he quite literally cannot let himself lose any battles in a fantasy world. And this led to the very noticeable repetition in all of his movies where he basically just played himself over and over again. Take a look at these 4 pictures right here. They all look the same, right? Well, what if I told you that they were all 4 different movies? I'm not fucking kidding here. He became the most predictable actor ever, where he just did a bunch of action stuff with a bunch of explosions and shit. Dwayne was successful, but he wasn't respected. He brought in tons of money to the box office, but it's not like he was gonna win an Oscar. Dwayne was making more money than ever still, but it wasn't enough for him. Around 2020 was when the world first started to see through the fake persona of Dwayne Johnson, and it would start to genuinely crumble. Now,
hold on, let me... Hold on.
In 2020, The Rock decided to become an entrepreneur and create his own tequila brand, Terramana. Now, from the get-go, this brand took off immediately. It sold
only nigga I know who made their own drinks was Spider-Man, Tom Holland.
like 600,000 liter cases and was already valued at $3.5 billion. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a side business or a tequila brand at all, but the way that Dwayne just constantly promoted this brand all the time, it was very ingenuine and very fake. Because he plugged this drink almost anywhere he could, constantly posting it on his Instagram. He did almost anything possible to plug this. Or like when he did his very first rap verse on the song with Tech Nine, which basically was a promotion for the tequila brand. And even then, this clearly wasn't enough because Dwayne would constantly do ads on his Instagram. Now, since Dwayne is the 5th most followed person on Instagram, he charges around $2.4 million per Instagram post. And since he did these so often, it would be like 1 out of every 3rd post on his Instagram that were basically just ads. Now, I'm not gonna hate too much on this because honestly, if I could get that much money for just posting a damn picture, I'd be doing the exact same shit. I'd be ripping that every fucking day. But there were times that Dwayne would just straight up lie in these ads. For example, in 2022, he posted a picture of himself going to
I remember this. Yeah, I don't know why he lied. This was like one of the most useless like lies I've ever seen in my fucking life. It was just so random, and it was like I don't know.
That it was his very first time and also boosting himself for giving such a big tip. Even though quite literally 5 years ago, he posted himself going to In-N-Out. And he clearly didn't learn because 1 year later, he did the exact same thing again, posting about how he's going to In-N-Out for the very first time. And in each of these posts where he blatantly lies, he promotes his tequila brand. It was pointed out pretty quickly by fans and even Penguin Zero. It was just extremely unnecessary because why lie about that? Like seriously, he could have just said that he likes going to In-N-Out and felt like getting a burger from there. It didn't need to be this giant relevant lie about going there for the first time and such. Now, this whole thing didn't really have any insane consequences consequences of any kind. The worst it really had was just a Penguin Zero video with over 6 million views. But in 2020, Dwayne would actually have a genuine effect on his career when one of his movies flopped horrendously, and that was the release of the movie Jungle Cruise. This movie was based on the Disney park theme ride of the same name, and it was about this captain who travels with the scientists to find the Tree of Life. The movie had a budget of $200 million and brought in $220 million, which seems good, I guess, but in reality that was a complete flop. Combining with the production costs and everything else involved with this film, this movie needed to make at least $500 million to break even. Now, this was in 2020, so it probably was because of the whole cough situation that didn't allow people to go to theaters, but it wasn't nearly as bad as the bombshell of Black Adam. Now, in 2022, Dwayne was both a producer and the star for bad as the bombshell of Black Adam.
I don't think this is a hot take, but the side characters, I guess you would call them, were way better than his Black Adam. Just saying. Fuck, what is his name? I forget it. Dr. Fate. Hawkman, bitch, I don't know. Adam, Little Adam, I don't know your name, bitch, but these were cool. These were cool. I don't remember her. And the little boy, too. Little boy was solid, and the woman was cool. Black Adam was, You know, his Superman came down at the end. Damn, this shit like, bro, Black Adam versus Superman. Nah, but we got a reboot now, though. We got a reboot now in the DCU. So,
Now in 2022, Dwayne was both a producer and the star for
and
the
DC
comic film Black Adam. The movie infamously did awful in the box office and was a complete shit show, and it's mostly because of Dwayne. Now, in case you don't know, Black Adam is a character that's actually involved with Shazam.
Yeah, it was supposed to be with Shazam. Like, it would have made more sense if Shazam was the cameo at the end, but no, it was fucking Superman.
The DC comic universe. Now, originally, Black Adam was supposed to be a villain in the Shazam movie, but Dwayne did not like the idea.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that too. Yeah, he was supposed to be in, and he was supposed to have a cameo in the movie. But he didn't want to do it. He supposed to, in the I don't know what the second Shazam movie. Black Adam was supposed to have appear as a cameo in the movie.
Of Black Adam only being a supporting character villain in the Shazam movie, and instead urged the company to do his own film. And because Dwayne was the A-list celebrity and putting up the money for some of this project, they said yes, they didn't really have a choice. And the movie had an absolute insane level of promotion for it. The usual commercials, billboards, social media posts. Dwayne Johnson even founded an energy drink Zoa in 2020, and they did like a whole market line of Black Adam and pushed this drink to like every single store to promote this damn movie. There was clearly no dollar being spared to promote this movie by any means possible. And for good reason, because everyone knows that if you land an MCU type of role, you are basically set for life when it comes to the film industry. That is top tier, and it does not get better than that. This was
facts. Tom Holland, Robert Downey Jr., Captain America. That's facts. That's
Dwayne's real chance to get taken seriously as an actor to some degree. But there was just one problem. The movie was dog shit, and Dwayne was even shittier. It was just another case of Dwayne playing himself and adding no depth to the character at all. The original Black Adam character from the DC Comics was this morally complex anti-hero that really would have made a great film. But once again, Dwayne had to come in and Dwayne it up and completely shat on any potential that this film had. The combined production cost for everything involved in this film totaled around $450 million. However, the film made less than that and barely even scratched $400 million. So it was going to lose $50 to $100 million based on all of the costs. Dwayne cannot even remotely accept the idea of this movie being a failure after all the work he put in and would do anything to change the narrative. He even went so far as to go onto Twitter and posted that he confirmed with financiers that the movie would actually profit $56 to $72 million. Seems legit, right? Well, not even slightly, because it turns out that Dwayne and others on his team fed
What is this nigga watching? Nah, bro, niggas be
fake information to Hollywood to exaggerate the numbers and make people believe that it was a success when it wasn't. When looking at the legit numbers, the movie was losing a shit ton of money. So it was no surprise when Dwayne would later reveal that they were not continuing with the character. Dwayne was so ton of money. So it was no surprise when Dwayne would later reveal.
I want to give you a longer-awaited Black Adam update regarding the character's future in the new DC universe. James Gunn and I connect, and Black Adam will not be in the first chapter of storytelling. However, DC and Steven $7 have agreed to continue exploring the most valuable ways Black Adam can utilize in future DCU multiverse chapters. All right, you could do multiverse because the Batman is in its own universe, which I wish he wasn't, bro. Because I mean, Superman, we got the new Superman. You know, fuck. But isn't Batman Brave and the Bold gonna be a part of Superman's universe? I don't know.
That they were not continuing with the character. Dwayne was so desperate to have any type of appeal by any means necessary. He just like could not handle the idea that the movie wasn't good and that people didn't like it. The lies would start to spread past just his success and all of its brands, as his entire livelihood was starting to be put into question, because one of the main ones being of his use of steroids. Now, Dwayne is pretty jacked as fuck, not even for someone who was 50 years old, just for someone in general. Dwayne is more than twice my age, but more twice as jacked. And over time, he's just gotten bigger and bigger. And that type of physique to maintain at
But he slimmed down now.
his age is not even remotely close to easy. So it made lots of people wonder if he was natural or not. Dwayne has constantly denied the fact that he uses steroids and claimed that he only did it one time when he was around 18, but since then has remained clean. But many fitness influencers that are very experienced just do not believe that.
Is he telling people? Does he say, I've never taken steroids in my life? Does he say that?
He said in one instance that when he was 18, him and his friends took something and it gave him gynecomastia and then he never touched it again or something like that.
That seems suspect.
Super suspect.
Oh, yeah.
You think The Rock has taken steroids?
Yeah.
Do you think he took
Maybe.
steroids?
He
Wait.
probably took a little bit of something here and there. Not a lot, you know.
And there was really no proof of this until Dwayne broke down what his actual routine is like. And things just did not start to add up. In a video, Dwayne claims that in order to have the physique he has, he needs to eat around 6,000 to 8,000
Yeah, that's when he had ate them big ass
calories in a
pancakes
day.
or something
I was
like that.
probably at that time ingesting about anywhere between 6 to, well, I would say possible almost 8,000 calories a day.
The Rock in no way, shape, or form eats on average 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day. If he actually ate those kind of calories, 6,000 to 8,000 a day, he would be 100 pounds overweight. There is no way he eats this much.
Now, assuming Dwayne does extreme intense physical activity every single day, someone of his size and weight does not need to eat that much. Doing the math, he really needs to only eat 4,000 calories every single day. If Dwayne really did eat that much food every day, he would be Dwayne the Boulder Johnson. Greg Doucette, a very respected and experienced fitness influencer, did a 30-minute breakdown of just how none of this shit was adding up.
Imagine if doing something this easy for 20 minutes could develop a physique like The Rock. No, it's not hard, Rock. No. Faking effort. So remember, The Rock is in fact a gifted actor. He's been in how many movies? Blockbuster movies. He's an actor. And so he doesn't actually have to be suffering to make it look like he's suffering.
Now listen, what you want to put in your body is up to you. The real problem is when you have a platform and people looking up to you and you're not really being transparent about what you're putting in your body. There's already an issue with tons of fitness influencers who definitely take steroids but do not talk about it. And Dwayne clearly does this whole cycle so that he can get that juggernaut muscle to really be in the badass shape for all of his action-packed films. But it's just simply not as true as people think. Because if you really break it down, the math is not mathing. Even small lies he says can be proven wrong, like even if you're not an expert. Like when he said that he drinks 16 liters of water a day, you physically cannot drink that much water. It's physically impossible. You will die doing that. And on top of blatant lies, Dwayne was just becoming more and more desperate for people's approval. He just started becoming this walking, talking billboard that would just say these AI-generated like statements to appeal to everybody. This was wildly apparent when him and Oprah created the People's Fund of Maui in response to all of those wildfires that were happening in Hawaii like last year. This got tons of backlash from fans that it seemed super out of touch since Dwayne was worth $800 million and Oprah was worth $2.5 billion, yet they were asking the people to donate money when they could just do that themselves. And yeah, that would be out of touch, but both Dwayne and Oprah each donated $5 million, so it was a $10 million total donation. Yeah, he was getting a bunch of backlash, but he didn't really need to respond to all this because it would pass over time. He already was doing the thing that people criticized him not doing. And besides, him and Oprah were doing a good thing by promoting this cause. And the idea of people getting mad at him and not liking him was just too much for him to bear, so he posted an entire apology.
I get it, and I completely understand. And I could have been better. And next time I will be better.
Which again was not necessary, but he just couldn't fathom the idea of not being liked even for a short period of time. But it wasn't nearly as bad as his conflicting actions with Joe Rogan. When Joe Rogan initially posted a video talking about how he got COVID and had to postpone his shows, Dwayne left a comment. Great stuff here, brother, perfectly articulated. Look forward to coming on one day and breaking out the tequila with you. He was seemingly in support of Joe. However, he backtracked this when he got called out on Twitter. Dear The Rock, you're a hero to many people, and using your platform to defend Joe Rogan, a guy that used and laughed about using the N-word dozens of times, is a terrible use of your power. Have you actually listened to this man's many racist statements about black people? Now, this was in reference to when old clips surfaced of Joe using the N-word and making some pretty racist jokes. Joe did issue an apology about it, which was received well. And this tweet was not worth responding or stressing over, but Dwayne could not deal with the idea of being disliked. So he responded to it and backtracked his support of Joe. Dear Dr. Winslow, thank you so much for this. I hear you as well as everyone here 100%. I was not aware of his N-word use prior to my comments, but now I've become educated to his complete narrative. Learning moment for me. Yet 1 year later, he made an appearance on the Joe Rogan Experience. So taking back his statement of taking
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that The Rock is just, if he finds out or he sees that the internet doesn't like him, he start glitching out. Like he can't function right if he see that people that they don't like him, people that he never see in his life, they don't like me. He get to geek it out, and then he just gotta try and fix it. He has to try and fix it. He has to. If he sees something, if he sees a comment and it's talking bad about him, he's gonna respond to it. Okay.
taking back his statement, I guess. And this podcast got extreme backlash, not because of Dwayne's previous statements, but because it was just very fake and inauthentic. Dwayne was basically on maximum people pleaser mode with this because him and Joe were just talking about the most bland topics ever. It might be possible that Dwayne and his team talked to Joe and blacklisted certain topics from being discussed. They didn't talk about him using steroids or his president run, which Joe has talked about before on the show. He doesn't ask Dwayne about his political beliefs or his run or any plan of it. If anything, this felt like Dwayne interviewing Joe because Dwayne was doing all the questions. Joe did most of the fucking talking on his own podcasts, and when actual topics are brought up, Dwayne does not give any actual opinion on it. For example, they talk about the Israel and Palestine situation, which was a very serious issue. Joe was not afraid to give his raw 2 cents of the entire matter, but when Dwayne talks about it, he just kind of blindly agrees with it and doesn't give any actual substance to the conversation.
I have friends who support Trump. I have friends who support Biden. I have friends.
Do you really have friends who support Biden?
I do.
Come
well,
on.
No. Here's what I do. I have friends. Thank you. That's a good check because that's important. This is important context.
They support the Democratic Party.
I have friends who are loyal to the party.
Yes.
This clip is also weird because Dwayne did support Joe back in 2020, which was like the closest he ever did to picking a side. So again, Dwayne is just doing whatever it possibly takes to appeal to as much people as possible and kind of just blindly put on this mask to really be as generic as possible. And this is not a good thing for Dwayne if he does want to run for president because you can't be a people pleaser and win the election. Running for president will require being controversial a lot of the time and being hated by a lot of the people. If he can't handle a few mean tweets about him, then he definitely cannot handle a presidential campaign. And the controversy continued when Dwayne fought against Roman Reigns on WrestleMania SmackDown. People were pissed because they wanted to see Roman fight against Cody Rhodes. But Cody stepped out so that Dwayne could fight against Roman. Fans did not like this at all, and their segment on YouTube is the most disliked WrestleMania video ever. And it would be this year that Dwayne experienced his worst box office flop yet with Red One. Now, just looking by the poster, I don't think I need to tell you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Off the poster, I'm not watching this. I see a big ass polar bear. I see fucking bum ass Captain America, I think. I see damn. What's his name from the I forget. Yeah, I'm not watching that though.
What this movie is about at all, because you already know. It's another star-studded Christmas film filled with action-packed sequences and basically completely dependent on the celebrity appeal to bring in the box office bucks. It's your usual predictable Dwayne movie with generic plots, and it failed completely. The movie had a $250 million budget, but opening weekend made only around $32 million. As of December 1st, this movie hasn't even made $150 million. It's gonna take a Christmas miracle for this movie to even break even. And what made it even worse was when Dwayne did this completely cringy interview talking about how he got the inspiration from Oppenheimer.
The Rock says Oppenheimer inspired him to film Red One for IMAX. It can be game over. With Red One, our intention was to make a movie that you can enjoy on the biggest screen possible. Legitimately, the biggest screens possible. Well, they're IMAX. I was midway through shooting Red One. I had an opportunity to go watch Oppenheimer, and I watched it in the IMAX theater where Christopher Nolan watches and screens his movies. Him and Emma, his wife. I even asked, let me sit where Chris is sitting. So they
Yeah, I don't. Why does he like? Come on, there's no way you actually watch Oppenheimer, and then you were like, damn, I got something for these niggas. Red One, Christmas movie, big ass polar bear, Santa Claus, polar bear, explosions, presents, Oppenheimer. Bro, come on, bro.
said Chris sits here to enjoy the movie. So I sat where Chris sat. I watched Oppenheimer. It was amazing. But I was thinking, holy shit, this thing, Red One on this screen with this technology can be game over. I remember texting Jake, and I sent him a picture first of my bare chest, and then I sent him a picture of the screen. We just had a great conversation afterwards about just how cool it's going to be. It's going to be very cool. It's just cringe. Bottom line is, it's just embarrassing.
Dwayne seeing the Oppenheimer movie and going so far to sit next to Christopher Nolan and basically getting the inspiration for his own movie really shows the length of his ego and his arrogance. Because he's like trying to compare himself to Christopher Nolan, a much more respectable and established director. The constant spew of lies and authenticity and bland movies has finally caught up to The Rock. He's no longer able to Dwayne up his movies anymore to make them appealing. Now, is Dwayne a bad person? Definitely not. I actually argue the opposite. He has an extensive list of charity and philanthropy work. But at the end of the day, you don't really need a big scandal or a RICO case to...
Yo, bro, just because a nigga donates to charity don't mean he's a good person. I'm just saying, though. But we don't know him personally, so... Huh? What sandwich? Oh, yeah, sure.
In your career. Being inauthentic is the quickest path to your downfall above anything.
Facts. Listen. The Rock Johnson. You gotta chill. Damn, we've been in this whole 2 hours, longest stream ever made. I'm out of here though.
I wanna mention the fuck up a bag. Baby and butt on the jeans they arrive. Shit on the fire, she try me with play.
Oh shit, hold on. Corey Kitchen just dropped. Shit. He just dropped a 40-minute vid. I guess this is probably just gonna be him addressing what people were saying, you know, that's probably really good. Yeah, 920